Okay, so I want to review with you how to do some adding and subtracting fractions. So if I have 3/4 plus 1/4, this is relatively easy because all you have to remember is that these bottom numbers, or the denominator, stays the same. And then I just have to add the two top numbers. That's just 3 plus 1, so that's 4. So let's do this one. That's just 3/5. Bottom numbers stay the same, and then you just add 2 plus 3. Let's do subtraction. If I have 5/8 minus 3/8, bottom numbers stay the same. And that's just 5 minus 3, well, that's 2. Okay, so let's do some that are a little bit more challenging. Okay, so let's say I have something like 1/6 plus 1/2. Now, these are not the same. Now, just as a side note, if I had 1/6 times 1/2, all I have to do is multiply these. So 1 times 1 is 1, 6 times 2 is 12. But adding and subtracting are actually a little bit more challenging because you have to get the bottom numbers, or the denominator, you have to get them to match. So how am I going to do that? Okay, so here's one way to do it. I could multiply these two numbers by each other because 6 times 2 is 12. So I could convert this one to where the bottom number is 12, and I convert this one where the bottom number is 12. So let's do that. So let me look at my 1/6. So I'm multiplying times each other. So I'm looking at this one, and I'm going, let's change the color just here so maybe it's easier. 1/6, okay, looking at that. And I'm multiplying it times 2 because I'm trying to get them to match. So 6 times 2, that's 12. Now remember, I can't just leave it as a 1. I can't do that. Whatever I do on the top, I have to do on the bottom. So I have to multiply the top as well. So 2 times 1 is 2. So now my 1/6 is converted to 2/12. Okay, so now I have 2/12. Now I have to do something similar to my 1/2. So let's clean this up just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to do something similar to my 1/2. So on my 1/2, I'm going to say 1/2 times 6 because I'm wanting them to match. So I'm multiplying these two times each other. So 6, that gives me 6 times 2 is 12. But what I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. Okay, so 6 times 1 is 6. So now I'm left with 6/12. Now I have 2/12 plus 6/12. Perfect. You see, all I did was I manipulated my numbers to match so that the bottom numbers, they matched. I converted my 1/2 to 6/12 and my 1/6 to 2/12. Now, I urge you to rewatch this until you understand how I did that, and you might just need to practice a little bit because this next part is, relatively easy because now I know the bottom numbers stay the same, so that's just 12. And then the top numbers are just added together. So 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay. Now, you could leave, in IXL practice, you can leave the 8/12 by itself. But if you're doing a multiple choice problem, okay, they're not going to give you an answer of 8/12. You're going to have to reduce this fraction to its lowest terms. Okay? Okay. So, what I have to do is I have to see, is there a way to make this number smaller? Okay, well, I can immediately see that these are even numbers. Remember, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. Any number that ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0 is an even number. And even numbers can be divided by 2. So in your calculator, what I want you to do is I just want you to do 8 divided by 2. Okay? 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So I'm converting that 8 to a 4. Put that over there. And then I want you to do the same thing to the 12. Put in your calculator 12 divided by 2, and you're going to get 6. So that 12 is converted to a 6. So now I went from 8/12 is equal to 4/6. But look, I can still reduce this even further, 4/6, because I know that if I divide 4 divided by 2, I can do that. So I've got to do it even more. So I'm going to put in my calculator 4 divided by 2. I'm going to get 2. And then I'm going to put 6 divided by 2, and I'm going to get 3. Okay? So, here again, just so you can see what I did, I took this number and I reduced it to 2, and I reduced this one to 3. Now notice I used the same number here. I did 2 here. I can't say 4 divided by 2 and then 6 divided by 3. These numbers have to match when I'm reducing. Okay, so that's why you have to see a relationship, and the relationship I saw was that they were even numbers, and even numbers I know can divide by 2. Okay, so that's why I use 2, because they're even numbers. Okay, so but just so you know, in this situation, and I guess I erased it before when I reduced it before, but you have to divide it by the same number. So whatever you divide by the top, you have to divide by the bottom. So now my 4 turned into a 2 and my 6 turned into a 3. So that reduced to 2/3. So just to put it all out there, I went from 8/12 is equal to 4/6 is equal to 2/3. So when I originally did the problem, I got this 8/12. But I was able to reduce that down to 2/3. And so when you see a multiple choice question of adding and subtracting fractions, it's likely going to be in the lowest terms. So you need to know how to reduce it to the lowest terms. So if you need to do more practice, let's just do one more. And then really you're just going to have to practice this to get it better. But let's just do one more together. So I'm going to say, 3/10 plus 1/2. Now, I'm going to do this in 2 different ways. Again, I told you an easy way to do it is just to multiply these times each other. It is not the shortest way to do it, but it is sometimes the easier way. So we're going to do it that way first. So now I'm going to say 3/10 times 2, because I'm multiplying it times each other, and that's going to give me 6/20. So that takes care of that one. Okay, now I'm going to do this one, which is 1/2. And remember, I'm multiplying it times each other, so I'm going to do times 10. So what I do on the top, I have to do on the bottom. What I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So that turns into 10/20. Perfect. Now they match. That's what I wanted. I wanted them to match, and that's what they did. So now I have 10/20 plus 6/20. And again, these numbers match. That's what I wanted. So now it's just a matter of the 20 stays the same, and it's just a matter of 10 plus 6. Okay, that's 16. So again, this is a number that is an even number. So I could do 16 divided, I have to reduce it to the lowest terms. So if I say 16 divided by 2, that gives me 8. 20 divided by 2, that gives me 10. So 16/20 is equal to 8/10. But I can do it even further, and I could say 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So that gives me 4/5. So by reducing it to its lowest terms, I'm left with the answer of, I'm left with the answer of 4/5. Now, if you need to review that, if I kind of went a little faster on the second one, but that's okay because you can re-watch this until you get it. But I want to show you a different method. So I'm going to take the same problem of 3/10 plus 1/2. Okay, I'm going to say 3/10 plus 1/2. Now I'm going to do it a little different. Instead of multiplying these times each other, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at the lowest number. Okay, and the lowest number is 2. So I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to say, how many times will 2 go into 5? Or you could say it this way, is 10 a multiple of 2? Or I could say, is 2 a factor of 10? Now, I'm intentionally using these math vocabulary words because, the more you use these math vocabulary words, the more you understand them. So, will 2 go into 10? Yes, I know 2 times 5 is 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to convert this one, 1/2 times 5. Because that's going to give me like terms. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. Remember, what I do on the top, I have to do on the bottom. That's what I did. And all I did was I manipulated my 1/2 number to get 5/10 so that I can get these numbers to match, because ultimately that's what I need them to do. I need them to match. So now I'm left with 3/10. Okay, right there, I'm just doing the same one, plus 5/10. Okay, so remember, 1/2 is equal to 5/10 because I manipulated it. And so now I have the like terms, 10 and 10. So then it just becomes a basic 3 plus 5. Remember, the bottom number stays the same. Okay, so 3 plus 5 is 8. So now I'm left with 8/10. But I know that can be reduced. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 8 divided by 2. Again, even number, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. All of these are even numbers. So I can recognize these as even numbers, so I can recognize that they're divisible by 2. So I know they can be reduced. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So remember, I'm dividing both of these numbers, 8 and 10, by 2 just to get it to reduce. So now I'm left with 4/5. So look, this method got me 4/5. This method got me 4/5. The answer is 4/5. So whichever method is easier for you to understand as long as you get the correct answer. It's just this second method is a little bit faster. So let me know if you need any more help with that, and I'll be happy to help you.